All right. So today we're talking about who is Akamai, who is Seraphic. We're looking at the different pieces that kind of come into that. So the Akamai side of the house, we have what we have seen is industry-leading zero trust network access. So we have this that allow us to get to private applications, externalize those in a manner that is as secure as possible, utilizing an identity-aware proxy. With that, we also have Seraphic, who is kind of bringing into this partnership that we're launching within the last month, I would say. We're bringing in the ability to have an enterprise browser control the pipe for different traffic coming down to managed and unmanaged devices. So how can we bring these together? How can we synergize together to really address a lot of our customers' needs as we kind of come across? So what we looked at is where we sit, what we do best, how we come across things, and what we've seen in the industry is when it comes to implementing a lot of different SSE-based capabilities, is you're introducing a lot of friction into your workflows for your employees. So how can you approach that differently? So how can you make it so that we can have a lot of the SSE capabilities we need, but at the same time reduce friction for our employees so that they can spend as much time doing their work as they do trying to get around all the friction we're implementing. So what we have with Seraphic is the ability to do this, the ability to implement a solution that gives us deep visibility and enforcement, that gives us the ability to have complete scalability across the world, actually, for all these aspects, and give us the ability to implement this in a manner that will be as simple as anything can be in this field. There we go. So where's the starting point? What are we doing? How are we starting this? This is the beginning of a relationship. So where are we starting? Where are we going with this? So we're starting in 3 areas. So first off is safe internet browsing, being able to lock down and help promote safe internet browsing. Governance and DLP for SaaS. So being able to have governance and DLP in your SaaS-based applications. These first 2 are where Seraphic sit. Third, we're looking at governance and DLP in private applications. And this is kind of the bridge that came together for Akamai and Seraphic, because Seraphic does these first 2 great, but didn't really have a way to bridge that third area of private applications, either cloud or in the data center. So how can you go across doing that? So where we come in is providing the fabric, utilizing our identity-aware proxy to be able to allow access for those private applications as they flow back, and then utilize Seraphic at the browser level to be able to enforce our controls, enforce DLP, enforce all the different aspects of security that we want, again, in a manner that is not much overhead. So to get into that and to get into what that is, I will turn it over to Alon.
Hi everyone, my name is Alon Levine. I'm running product for Seraphic, and I'll need the clicker also. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what Seraphic Enterprise Browser Solution is and why it is the right fitting for the solution, the mutual solution we're bringing to the table to provide better SSE value to our customers. All right, so Seraphic is a JavaScript browser agent. What does that mean? It means that we are running JavaScript code within the browser, any browser, to perform all of the actions that we were just going to talk about. Both security, governance, DLP, ZTNA. That code, that JavaScript code, is being injected to the browser by extension or by a dedicated browser. So it can work both ways. It can work on any browser like Chrome, Edge, Safari, Firefox, and others. It can work on any operating system. Obviously on Mac and Windows, but Linux also, iOS, Android, etc. It's not dependent on the operating system. It's providing safe browsing, so exploit prevention, phishing prevention, cross-site scripting, all the attacks that you can think of that are happening within the context of the web. It can provide DLP and governance for private applications, for SaaS applications, protecting against data breaches, protecting against data leakage, protecting against users doing things that they should not really do with sensitive data. And it provides ZTNA. And now that we are launching this partnership together, this will allow Akamai customers, ZTNA customers, to go through the Seraphic browser in a way that will secure their interaction when they're going into private applications through Akamai ZTNA. So what is actually the things that are unique from a Seraphic perspective? First and foremost, security. We eliminate browser risks. That includes vulnerability attacks, zero-day attacks. That includes the unknown phishing attacks, other social engineering attacks. And the most prominent one that we are seeing is identity type attacks, where attackers are actually looking for user identities, credentials, session cookies, and so on and so forth to get a hold of the user's session. We look at data without disruption. We want to make sure that the data that the user is accessing through the browser is secure, that they do not do any things that we do not want them to do. We control all end user actions from copy, paste, print, etc. We can mask sensitive data on the web. And we protect things like keyloggers, against keyloggers, and against screen sharing, which is something that is not wanted. Lastly, we have seamless policy enforcement in the form of ensuring that your extensions, the other extensions you have on the browsers, are not in risk, not creating risk for the user. We enforce access policy and URL filtering from Seraphic, and we limit the use of unwanted and risky API and URL schemes. So we all migrated into the working from the browser. Today, all of our applications are actually residing in the browser. Almost all of our applications are residing in the browser. But unfortunately, the risks have migrated to the browser too. So there's a lot of different risks that we are handling within the browser. First and foremost, we are with unprotected browsers in a zero trust world, right? Our browsers today, the ones that we have, Chrome, Edge, Safari, they do not have the tools to protect against the threats that we are being exposed to when we are browsing the web. Remote work, BYOD. When we are allowing our remote users, contractors, personal device users to log into corporate applications, we do not have control on what they have on their device. We do not know what risks they're exposing when they're logging in to our applications. This is what we are doing by protecting their browser, so they can use a dedicated browser for accessing corporate applications. Data exfiltration, whether this would be SaaS or private apps, and this is again one of the reasons we are partnered together to protect when users are on these applications. We want to ensure that data doesn't leave these applications, or at least not the ones that we don't want to leave this application. And the unfortunate truth is that the legacy tools just don't scale. Whether this would be VPN or VDI or other endpoint agents are not sufficient to solve these problems. Problems that are in the browser can only be solved within the browser. And with this partnership, we provide full coverage from browser to the cloud. We have the entire stack working from Seraphic from the browser side and Akamai from the cloud side. And that helps us both secure any user, wherever they're going, with whatever device they're using, whether this is a managed device, a third-party device. We combine the browser native controls with the ZTNA to protect those sessions. We extend granular policy even to unmanaged devices without friction. So we provide SSE value, not really SSE per se, but SSE value from the browser, from the cloud, without friction to the end users across managed and unmanaged devices. And lastly, we accelerate adoption without complexity. One of the problems that we're seeing with SSE is the adoption is hard. It's hard to set up a proper adoption for full-blown SSE, and we make it easy for users. By partnering together, we make it easy to get the value of SSE without having to go through all the friction, setup, maintenance of an SSE solution. If you have any questions, we'll be here to answer them, and feel free to reach out to us if you want more information. There you go. Thank you.